कृतं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class, in which the section that we are discussing is about Puranjan becoming a woman in the next life. So this is an allegorical story told by Narad Muni to King Prachin Varisha. So in one sense, such a thing never happened anywhere, but it is the life of who was very much engaged in fruitive activities in order to bring him to sanity. That because of this activity of fruitive work, how so many animals are being killed. Narad Muni thought that he's too attached to this fruitive activities. He cannot be directly guided, reached. So very indirectly, allegorical story, such a long story, around 4-5 chapters in 4 cantos. But he took that trouble in order to bring Lakshmi Parishad to sanity, and that we see he did come to that. So what he's telling is the allegorical story in which Puranjan, all of us, the soul, he enters in Navadwara Purevi, in the one particular town which has 9 gates. That is our body, which has 9 holes. And he comes, he resides, and how he gets allured by intelligence, that is queen. Long story. Ultimately, when he was so attached to his wife, then next lifetime, and he became a woman. That is yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kauntaya sada tat bhavabhavi. In the 8th chapter, Krishna is telling, so through Arjun to all of us, that whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state will attain without fail. So he remembered his wife, he became a woman, and she got married. She who was he, now who is she got married to he. That is Malay Dhwaj. He is a great king, and he ruled very nicely. And towards the end, now this particular verse is saying, after this,
taste of success. Let them relish it. Otherwise, all the seniors and all the elderly people, they are only just heading everything and not allowing the younger generation to grow. It's not good. Prabhupada very meticulously, though time was very less, only 12 years he was on planet Earth ever since he established ISKCON, but still he made sure that some things are there. Like he made GBC committee, Governing Body Commission. Though they were very young disciples, they were not so mature how to run the worldwide affairs of such a spiritual organization, of which they had not much idea what spiritual life is. But then Prabhupada handed them over. Prabhupada himself took part in those GBC meetings. He also became one of the members, and he would also raise hand and would say, my opinion is my opinion, or how they conduct, he oversaw the whole thing. Many other things were also being put in action, but time was less. Whatever possible, Krishna's desire, that much was done, and remaining thing the disciples were supposed to do, and the grand disciples, and down the line, it has to be done. So one of the things is one should hand over the responsibility to next generation. That's why in the Varnashram system also, it is said, Panchasho Vardham Vanam Rajit. After the age of 50, husband and wife, they should go, they should retire from active family life, and they should go to forest. They should go to pilgrimage, different holy places, Vrindavan, Mayapur, Mathura, Ayodhya, so many holy places, and hear from the saints. As such, in Grahastha life also, one is supposed to regularly invite saints, sages to house. In Prabhupada's house itself, we see Gaur Mohan Dey was very particular to call every day at least 4 sadhus, minimum 4 sadhus. And though some of the sadhus were not of very good quality, some of them would eat tobacco, some of them would be smoking bidi, but his father wanted to follow that regularity principle, what is there for a Grahastha. One of the most important principles for a Grahastha life, Grahasthas, is to invite sadhus to their house and give them prasadam, and then hear from them some sermons, like we find in the case of Hadai Pandit and Mother Padmavati, how they invited a particular sannyasi who had come to Ekachakra Dham. They welcomed him to their house. Mataji cooked very nice bhoga offered to Krishna, and a prasadam was fed to that sannyasi by Hadai Pandit. And after his prasadam was over, then they sat, both the couple sat with him, and they heard Krishna Katha for whole night. And they did not sleep only. This is how the sadhu should be. Not the sadhu saying, oh, thank you very much, I got nice prasad, where is the bedding, I want to take rest now. Such kind of sadhu is not a good sadhu. Sadhu means he should preach, he should be having Krishna so much, and should speak about Krishna, and give Krishna to Grahasthas who do not have so much of Krishna. So that kind of sadhu is required. So this is the Vedic principle. But then after leading such a active Grahastha life, till the age of 50, one should go for pilgrimage. And allow the next generation, the grown-up son and his married wife, to take charge of the house. The wife who is newly married and who has come, the bride, she should be, according to Manu Samhita, she is called a Raghi. That means the queen. She is the queen of the house now. She has entered. That means she should not be very arrogant and proud. Hey, Hat jao, mother-in-law, I am the queen now. Not that kind of mood. But basically she should be allowed to flourish by giving the responsibility of the house to her. Otherwise the mother-in-law keeps all the keys with her only. And she guides her, dictates her. No, not like this. Like this. You don't know my son. I know her. I know him better. So so much of intervention, interference creates so much of problem for that daughter-in-law, newly married daughter-in-law. So that should be allowed also. Some kind of training can be given initially, but then hand over the responsibility. The mother-in-law should learn. Similarly, the father-in-law, he should also learn to hand over the responsibility to his grown-up son. Let him grow. Otherwise, he will not grow. Unless one exerts that kind of pressure in his life, he won't be able to grow. Just like one particular scientist once saw that, that insect in the cocoon. So he thought that butterfly which was coming out of the cocoon is struggling, caterpillar, trying to come out of that cocoon, was having difficulty because of that cocoon. So what he did, he cut off the cocoon so that it can easily come out. But then what happened, when it is trying to come out of that cocoon, then it exerts pressure in its body, and some liquids flow in the wings, and thus wings become very powerful, and as soon as he comes out, then he starts flying. But unfortunately this caterpillar, graced by foolish scientists, by cutting that cocoon, he did not exert the pressure and he came out and his wings don't have enough ability to flutter and all that. And the butterfly was just lying like that, not able to fly only. So this should not be allowed. The younger generation should be trained and they should be allowed to flourish. So that aspect should be taken care by the elderly people in the house, like especially the father and the mother. They are 50, now leave, especially those who are in Brahmin community and Kshatriya community. They are recommended to take Vanaprastha ashram after the age of 50. Prabhupada says for Shudra there is one ashram, for Grahasthas 2 ashrams, for Vaishyas 2 ashrams, for Kshatriyas 3 ashrams, and for Brahmanas 4 ashrams. Shudra doesn't go to Gurukul. That boy remains at home only. So he only has married life. Only one ashram for him. But Vaishya, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, all 3 children, they are sent to Gurukul. So thus Vaishya boy is in the childhood in Brahmacharya ashram. Eventually he gets married and he remains in married life throughout. Those who are Kshatriyas, children, they are sent to Gurukul. They get married eventually and then they live. Like we can see, if you read entirety of Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll find so many kings, almost all the kings, after handing over their responsibility, they left for forest. They went for pilgrimage. They went to Vanaprastha, Prasthan, leave for forest, for holy places in the forest. And Brahmanas, they can go to the last stage of sannyas also. So they take sannyas also. So we find even in ISKCON current scenario, many brahmacharis cannot maintain their brahmachari life because the brahminical nature is not imbibed. Prabhupada said ours is a brahminical culture. But unfortunately, being born and brought up in passionate lifestyle, many cannot come to the mode of goodness and eventually they get married. No problem, they could not develop brahminical culture, but whatever the thing they have, they can get married honestly and lead a very nice, wonderful, Krishna conscious Grahastha life. But the principles have to be understood properly. What is lacking in our practice? Prabhupada has given everything in his purports, and then if we are reading them thoroughly, then we are very clear as to why the disturbance is there in people around us, even within ISKCON society. So here stress is on preaching. For younger generation, they should be handed over the responsibility for preaching. So we'll discuss something about preaching, which is applicable for most of us. Those of us who are in leadership position, for us, we should also withdraw. After some time, train the next generation and you withdraw from that. Let them flourish. Give them the test of success. You don't just be holding on, I will not leave my chair only. That is called a Dhritarashtra. Dhruta means to hold. Keshava dhruta narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare. Keshav, Lord Krishna, dhruta, he has accepted what? Narahari rupa. Nara means human being and Hari means lion. Hari has several meanings. So one meaning is lion. Narahari, Nara Simha, Nara Keshari. Keshari means also lion. So he accepted the form of lion, half man, half lion. That is Narahari. So Dhritarashtra, one who is holding on to Rashtra, to his kingdom, to his chair, to his Simhasan. Dhritarashtra was like that. In fact, to the extent that his 100 sons were killed in the process of trying to continue sitting on that Simhasan, that royal throne, all 100 children were killed foolishly because of his foolishness, being attached to his eldest son, Duryodhan. And then also so-called Simhasan was not there, Hastinapur Simhasan, but some other side Simhasan was there, what you call, secondary kind of, for uncle of the king, that is Yudhishthir Maharaj. And he is very happy to sit there in the royal court, etc. And Bhima is feeding him. So Vidurji could not tolerate. He came, he was hearing nicely from Maitreya Muni, but he thought that foolish attached Dhritarashtra has to be, his eyes have to be opened. Anyway, materially he is blind only from birth, but at least spiritual eyes can be opened. Till the time he was attached to his son, he could not, Vidurji tried like anything, but could not open his eyes. Now because attachment is gone, all 100 sons are mercilessly killed. He has heard all the description from Sanjay. Now this fellow can be enlightened. There is possibility of that. So Vidurji came back from his from his pilgrimage and gave such a powerful class, one Bhagavatam class, 100% result. Immediately Dhritarashtra left for forest without thinking twice. In fact, Gandhari, his chaste wife, also followed him. But then Yudhishthir Maharaj thought that, oh, this is now another problem. Oh, my uncle, where is he gone? Old man, he was born blind, and now his sons were also killed. He had no other shelter. I was only his nephew or whatever. I was caretaker. So Narad Muni came and enlightened our Yudhishthir Maharaj also. Are you are a fool. Why are you thinking that you are the caretaker for your uncle? He is gone. 5th day from now, he will create fire from his body, and in that fire his body will be burned, and chaste Gandhari will go sati. She will enter in that fire only with her husband. She will also go ahead in their further destination. So we see that how we should not hold on as seniors. Any kind of senior is there, his responsibility is to train the juniors. Initially there may be no one, like we go to a particular place in the world, somewhere we are starting a center preaching, and then we get some followers, some people who are starting chanting, etc. Start training them, give them training, make them expert in different fields of spiritual life, like cooking, singing, playing musical instruments, then giving classes, memorizing verses, how to deal with people. Train them in every aspect of Krishna consciousness. That is a leader. A leader is not just born leader and he ends up dies as a leader. He creates next generation of leaders also. That is very much required. Otherwise, next people, there is no one there next. And then he should take off. He should go to the next place, or he should go into deeper bhajan. He should work on improving himself also, becoming deeper in spiritual life. But anyway, we will discuss from the viewpoint of the second generation who are expected or ordered by Srila Prabhupada to preach. So we will discuss something about missionary spirit or preaching. We find that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed all of us. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh amara agya guru haya tare desh. He told this to Kurma Brahman in Kurma Kshetra, that is Orissa Andhra border, when he was on his South India tour. And he said after that, Kabuna badhibe tomar vishaya taranga punarapiye ithai pabe mora sanga. So my dear Kurma Brahman was so inspired by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such a young, beautiful sannyasi and so charismatic, such madness for Krishna, 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 holy name. So Kurma Brahman thought this is a very nice lifestyle, I will also follow him. But Mahaprabhu said, no, you are a grahastha, you should stay at home, and whosoever you come across, you preach him Krishna consciousness. If you do this, then what will happen? Kabuna badhibe tomar vishaya taranga. You are concerned that as a grahastha, you are getting hit by the waves of material lifestyle. Maya is so powerful. So you are feeling that you are getting hit. Don't worry. If you follow this principle, that whosoever you come across, you preach them, give them Krishna by preaching, then the Vishaya Tarangas will never hit you. That is one advantage. Second, Punarapiye ithai pabe mora sanga. In this place only, you will get my association. That means in one sense, Kurma Kshetra. But if you find, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went all the way, South India, from Puri he left, Andhra, then he went Tamil Nadu, he came to Kerala, then he entered in Karnataka, then Maharashtra, then he went to Nasik, then he went to Trambakeshwar, the origin of Godavari, and by the side of Godavari, by the bank of Godavari, he came again back to Rajmundry. And then he went back. So he did not meet Kurma Brahman, there is no description. But what it means is that he always experienced Mahaprabhu's presence. Anybody who follows the order of the Supreme Lord will have Lord with him always. Or anybody who follows the order of the spiritual master will always have the spiritual master with him. As Prabhupada we see, he said that never was there a time when I was not with my spiritual master. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur left body in 1936, 31st December. But Prabhupada was there till 14 November 1977. But still, for 41 years, Prabhupada said, I was always with my spiritual master. Because Prabhupada followed the instruction of the spiritual master. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not only tell that Kurma Brahman, but he told Nityam Prabhu and Haridas Thakur also. Shuno Shuno Nityananda Shuno Haridas Amaragya Sarvatra Karaho Prakash Prati Ghore Ghore Giya Mago Yei Bhiksha Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Karo Krishna Shiksha. Vrindavan Das Thakur explains very nicely that how he said, oh Nityam Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, come and you go to each and every house in Navadvip and tell people, chant the holy name of Krishna, worship Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is the wealth of your life. Chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Nityananda Prabhu is Adi Guru, and Haridas Thakur is Namacharya. The Acharya who teaches how to chant the holy name of the Lord. Both these very important personalities in Mahaprabhu's associates had been instructed by Mahaprabhu to preach to one and all. So we see Adi Guru is Nityananda Prabhu. So we are all followers of Guru, Adi Guru, Prabhupada. So we also have to preach to everyone. We have to meet whosoever we come across, we should preach them Krishna conscious message. And in the evening they were told to report also by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every evening. That's how Jagai Mada's report was given in the first interaction only that happened. That was reported. And Mahaprabhu said, because Nityananda Prabhu has decided, Advaita Acharya said, because Nityananda Prabhu has decided to deliver these two, very soon these two will be in the midst of devotees, very purified heart, they will be chanting Hare Krishna. We find Advaita Acharya also, who was preaching, trying to set right the materialistic society within Navadvip. He also found out of his humility that I am not capable of. So then he invited the Lord. He found out in Gautamiya Tantra. Tulasi dala matrena jalasya chulukena va vikriniyam samatmebhyo bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha. So he thought that let me offer tulsi dal and Ganga jal, and then he invited the Lord. So we see that he also was so intent upon preaching. So we should also request or pray to Advaita Acharya, because he could get Lord of Vaikuntha on planet Earth by his sincere ardent prayers, very heartfelt prayers. So if we have mercy of Advaita Acharya, then we can invite the Lord on planet, or if not, at least in our heart. We sing also every morning, Daya karo Sita Pati Advaita Gosai Tava Kripa Bale Pai Chaitanya Nithai. Tava Kripa Bal, by the strength of your mercy, one gets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So one should pray to Advaita Acharya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur we find, who was also trying to set right the situation of society in Bengal, wherever he was given the job by the British government. But then he also in humility felt that alone I am not able to, I need a ray of Vishnu. He prayed to Lord Jagannath, and then Jagannath in the reciprocation sent Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we see how our acharyas, they have been always praying. Srila Jiva Goswami sent his three disciples, Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur Mahasaya and Shyamanand Pandit, to Bengal, because Mother Janva said that all of you are so happy and nicely getting the literatures of the Goswamis, who talk so much about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Tattva, Krishna and all that. So we are here Bengal bereft of all that. So please send this wealth to Bengal also, so that we could be benefited. So Jiva Goswami appointed these three, the commander-in-chief of his army, and they went and they preached very vigorously. Srinivas Acharya preached in Bengal, Shyamanand Pandit in Odisha, and Narottam Das Thakur in beyond West Bengal, that is in East Bengal, Budhari, Keturi Gram, all those places, very vigorously. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas for the sake of preaching, because he found that Navadvipasis, most of them are materialistic, those scholars, but they have no devotion for the Lord, and then they were offending the Lord even. So then he decided, I need to do something by which everybody will respect me, and that is only when I take sannyas. So though he had very old widowed mother, such a loving mother as Mother Sachi, and such a beautiful and chaste wife as Vishnu Priya, he gave them up and he took sannyas for our deliverance. Maya Mrugam Daitaya Ipsitam Anva Dhavat Vande Mahapurushate Charanarvindam. To run behind all of us, the conditioned souls who are running behind Maya Mruga, the illusory deer of illusory potency of the Lord. So we need to think about all this. Also, Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita says, in the 18th chapter, last, Nachatasman manusheshu kashin me priyakrittamaha. There is no one more dear to me than he who preaches my message to others. See, if you want to become very dear to Krishna, we have to preach. Tell everyone, simple, whatever we know, we have to preach. Nothing we know, we read Prabhupada books to the people. Simple. Doesn't take much headache or much knowledge also. Simple. And if somebody says, then I have some question, you don't know the answer, take him to some senior devotee. As simple as that. Don't carry any false ego. Oh, no, I only have to answer. Even if I don't know the answer, I will answer somehow. That kind of foolishness should not be there. One should be very humble. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's method of preaching was very simple. That is singing, dancing and refreshment. Prabhupada said chanting, dancing and feasting. So this is so simple. Anybody can follow, any small child. When to preach? All time to preach. One should preach all the time. Bhishma was preaching from the bed of arrows. Very easy to give class from such a nice soft Vyasasan. But the real test of a preacher is if he is pierced with some pins, needles, or maybe the bed of arrows. Bhishma is Mahajan. He is a pure devotee. He is the real preacher. Or Jesus Christ, crucified for the sake of preaching. Because of preaching, he got crucified. So are the preachers ready for crucifixion? Oh no, I will run away. Better I will not preach. But Jesus was ready, and he prayed also, despite people blaming him. He said, "Oh Lord, please forgive them, for they know not what they do." So such is the quality of a preacher. This is Madhyam Adhikari. Uttam Adhikari also cannot preach. Kanishta Adhikari also in one sense cannot preach. Uttam Adhikari, because of his humility, he feels the whole world is filled with pure devotees. Only one non-devotee, that is myself. So because of this mindset, he is not able to preach. Though he is preaching through his bhajan, Nirjan bhajan. Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, though he did not preach, but he empowered one moon powerful Bhaktisan Thakur. Bhaktisan Thakur preached like anything. 64 Gaudiya Mats, almost 16 in India and 4 around India, Burma, London, etc. So one has to preach all the time. Bhishma is, and Prabhupada you can see, he was preaching from the bed, from the deathbed till the last moment. Bhaktivedanta purports, 10th canto, 13th chapter, last purports are going on. If he would have remained, he would have given for 14th chapter also, Brahmaji's prayers. But Krishna wanted him to give up to 13th. He had given Krishna book anyway. So that kind of spirit is required, that in all conditions. That is only with Madhyam Adhikari. Bhakti Devi follows behind Madhyam Adhikari. And when the Madhyam Adhikari glances on some conditioned soul and decides to give him bhakti, immediately Bhakti Devi comes ahead and enters in his heart and inspires him. That please take to Krishna consciousness, he is giving you, like that. Kanishta Adhikari is a neophyte. Fight, neophyte. They fight like anything. Envy is there in the heart of a Kanishta Adhikari. And then he will try to pull those who are trying to go ahead of him externally. They will steal the chappal of that devotee is going for book distribution, puncture his cycle, or do something like that, so that his score should not be more than me. He will be searching for chappal is not there, some time will be wasted. So meanwhile I will run and I will distribute a lot of books and my score will be bigger than his score. He is a devotee of score, Marxwadi. Marx. Sadhana card also, like that. So that kind of envy makes Kanishta Adhikari disqualified. So his job should be to assist. So he should assist Madhyam Adhikari, who is empowered by an Uttam Adhikari to preach. Madhyam Adhikari is empowered by Uttam Adhikari. Without the blessings of Uttam Adhikari, a Madhyam Adhikari cannot preach. He has a desire, sincere desire, but his desire also comes from association of Uttam Adhikari. So Kanishta Adhikari, Prabhupada says in one purport, he should, if he is ready to keep aside his individual agendas and opinions, then he can assist properly, a Madhyam Adhikari. Or if he is ready to cooperate to preach and maintain. The maintenance is very important. Whatever we start and we bring it to a particular level and then maintenance. So many times a Kanishta Adhikari will create disturbance in maintenance because his envy does not allow him to see others are flourishing. He is my department head. What about me? I came before him. I became initiated before him. Or why is he given initiation before me? I became devotee first. Like that. और तुम्हारे भक्त जनों में हमसे बढ़कर कौन? Swami, हमसे बढ़कर कौन? Oh Radha, Madan Mohan, in all your devotees, who is better devotee than me? I am the best devotee. I am the second founder Acharya of ISKCON. So all this foolishness is there with the Kanishta Adhikari. He doesn't have humility. He has all pride only, overflooding his heart. And then he preaches. If he tries to preach, he will preach his anarthas. So he is incompetent. He is unqualified to preach. He should assist Madhyam Adhikaris who are humble, who are representing Uttam Adhikaris. They know I am here on behalf of an Uttam Adhikari. They have that humility. And that's how they are empowered. Backed up by that humility and the strength, the blessings of Uttam Adhikari, a Madhyam Adhikari becomes very powerful preacher. Bhakti Devi is following behind him. What a power he has. How much he is empowered. So one should know while preaching that I am not powerful, I am empowered. Both the words have power word, but there is a difference. I have a power, but it's not my own power. It's borrowed, it's gifted by somebody else. So I am empowered. I definitely have power, but it's not my own. The moment one thinks that this is my power, he is corrupt by Maya, and he cannot preach. He will preach his anarthas. So one should be very clear about it. Narad Muni finds such a successful preacher. Wherever he goes, what kind of people he came across and how he delivered them to that dacoit Ratnakar. He told him to chant opposite of Ram, Mara. What a powerful preacher. Can any one of us think telling others chant Mara? After knowing this story also we cannot tell. Fortunately we don't come across very sinful people who are not able to chant the name of Lord Ram. We come across quite pious people. But Narad Muni is very innovative preacher. He preached to 10,000 Hareshwas, the sons of King Prachini Barishad, and then next 1,000 sons. And then he preached to Prahlad, the son of a demon. He preached to Dhruva, who was the son of Uttanapad. And all varieties of people he has preached to. Mrugari, in Prayagraj jungle, he found this Mrugari, half killing animals, and he delivered him also. So that kind of strength. If in preaching we should pray to Narad Muni. He preaches all over the world. We may be preaching somewhere in some part of India, but Narad Muni is a interspace traveler, and he preaches all over the universes. All the universes he can go. So one who is empowered by Narad Muni, he can preach very powerfully. Then Prabhupada says in one place, the troubles that are faced by a preacher, they are welcomed by him. He gives the example of Jesus. But such difficulties are gladly accepted and suffered by the devotees in preaching. Because in such activities, although apparently very severe, the devotees of the Lord feel transcendental pleasure because the Lord is satisfied. So to what extent you can sacrifice for the sake of giving Krishna consciousness to others? To that degree you are a high preacher. So lot of sacrifice is required. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, to make one person into devotee, one has to be ready to give 200 gallons of blood. Gallon is a huge unit. So several gallons of blood. Are we ready to give? Our sweat, blood and sweat should be shed for making one person into a devotee. It is like producing a child only. So 64 drops of semen of blood makes into one drop of semen. And in the sexual act for procreation, the man has to give so much of semen. And similarly, the woman has to give all the ingredients from her body for next 9 months for the child to get that physical body within the womb. And after coming out also, she has to give her milk. And then afterwards cook and feed that child. So much of blood and sweat and energy of the mother and father go to procreate one child. So that is anyway material creation, physical body creation. This is spiritual creation. You have to make him Krishna conscious inside, outside. How much strength is required? One cannot have it on his own. It has to be borrowed only from Guru Parampara, from pure devotees, from Uttamadhikaris, from Madhyamadhikaris. Then only one can be successful in preaching. Prabhupada says in one place, preaching the cult of devotional service is equivalent to declaring war against material life. You are preaching. Prabhupada said also that if only these people in America knew what I have come for, that no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex and no intoxication, if they knew it, they would have killed me. Fortunately, nobody understood Prabhupada because they did not come only for classes. All the demoniac people, those who came, they were quite good people. They heard Prabhupada, they themselves became devotees. But if demoniac people would have heard Prabhupada, Prabhupada says they would have killed me. True. Because all their businesses are based on meat eating, gambling, illicit sex and intoxication. And Prabhupada destroyed all those, their businesses. So they would have been dangerous. He says the Lord shakes hands with a preacher in great satisfaction. Brahmaji, when he performed austerities in the beginning of creation, and when Lord appeared, he offered nice prayers. So Lord shook hands with Brahmaji. So how many of you want Lord to shake hand with you? That transcendental touch itself, the idea itself is so soothing. Lord's Satchidananda body, so soft. Krishna's body is so soft, softer than butter. That's why our heart should become softer than butter. Then that butter thief, Krishna, will come and steal our heart. We should not make our heart hard-hearted by associating with materialistic people and having material desires. One should give up all material desires. Vishaya chadiya kabe shuddha habe mana kabe hama heribo Shri Vrindavan. When we give up all the attachment to sense objects, then we will be able to see Radha Krishna always. Vishaya chadiya kabe shuddha habe man, mind will be purified. And with my eyes I will be able to see Vrindavan everywhere. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, any forest he saw, he was reminded of Vrindavan. Any river he saw, he was reminded of Yamuna. Any mountain he saw, he was reminded of Govardhan. So this is the consciousness we have to reach. So that is possible if we preach, because Lord will shake hand with us. How to preach? Saint Francis of Assisi, he says that one should preach 24 hours a day all throughout one's life, and if need be, one should open one's mouth also. So what does he mean? How will you preach without opening your mouth? Through your actions. Actions speak louder than words. An example is better than precept. So one should first imbibe, practice Krishna consciousness oneself very seriously. Then his actions speak louder than words, but some of the people may not see him in action. Like we get up early in the morning, 4 o'clock, and we get ready by 4:30, we attend Mangalati, Nasingati, everything. We chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna. Many outsiders are not even awake that time. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tatsyam jagrati sanyami. So what is day for us, that is night for them. What is night for us is day for them. So they are not awake. So for them we have to open our mouth. But for devotees, our actions will matter more than our words. We can pretend to know a lot, know many verses and quote them by memory and all that. But that will not be as appealing as when they see you practicing Krishna consciousness very seriously and sincerely, free from ulterior motives, and thereby you are becoming a very nice devotee. People don't care how much you know. They know how much you care. So we have to care for others. We should not be careless in our own spiritual life, and we should care for others also. Mistakes happen from everyone. Everybody may commit mistake. Just like children commit so many mistakes, but the parents always are accommodative. So preacher, our senior devotees should be accommodating also. So one should preach through his actions. Apani achari prabhu jivere shikhai. For the 4 ashramas, 4 different activities are prescribed. For brahmacharis, to acquire the best education. Prabhupada, in many of all his purports, will find, when he writes brahmachari, in bracket he will give English translation, the student life. He is a student, vidyarthi, vidyayam arthayati iti vidyarthi. One who is seeking knowledge. So brahmachari should be seeking knowledge. So he should be into purports of Prabhupada. He should read Acharya's commentaries, Acharya's books, and so many books are there. His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj has till now translated 160 books like that. So when will we read them? And this is just not completed. So many. When he came in Pune, I asked the assistant, "Do you have Amrut Pravaha Bhashya of Bhaktivinoda Thakur?" So he said, "No, Maharaj is working on it. Wait for some time. Soon it will be published." So see, so many books are there. Krishnanika Kaumudi, Sri Chaitanya Chandramat, and what not, kind of Gopal Champu, Anand Vrindavan Champu. Do we know what is Champu? We know only Champi. So Champi means shaving. So Champu, what is Champu? We have to know. Acharyas have written so much. When will we read that? When will we imbibe? When will we become pure devotees? If not in this life, after many lifetimes. So brahmachari means he should be into studies. And grahastha means for gratifying senses, grahastha life, with a charitable disposition, Prabhupada says. So grahasthas are allowed sense gratification, not to the degree like meat eating, gambling, not that. That is sinful only, pious life, but sense gratification is allowed. Grahastha Prabhu can tell his wife, "Aaj samose banaye jaye. Let us have samosas for our Gopal deity." He wants to eat samosa and is telling his wife, "Our Gopal wants to eat samosas today." So that, okay, maybe. But charitable disposition. He should give charity. Praner, arthair, dhiya, vacha. 4 ways one can surrender to the Lord. One should give one's life, like brahmacharis, vanaprasthas and sannyasis could give. One can give one's artha, one's money. That grahasthas could do. Vacha, one can give dhiya. One can use one's intelligence to propagate Krishna consciousness in a bigger, wider way. So that all can do. And vacha, one can use one's faculty of speech for telling everyone about Krishna consciousness. So these are the four ways of surrendering to the Lord. For Vanaprasthas, it is recommended penance. If you read 7th canto, after Narsimha, Prahlad Narsimha Lila is over, last 5 chapters, 11 to 15 are very powerful. All the 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas are very elaborately discussed by Narad Muni to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And there he says how Vanaprastha life is for severe austerities, penance. My God, your hair will stand on end by hearing the kind of austerities the Vanaprasthas are supposed to do. Vedic Vanaprasthas. Now for tradition, our current day modern scenario, Prabhupada says the Grahastha couple can come to temple daily and render services. And then go back in the evening, take rest. Temple can provide prasadam for them. Maybe daytime some place where they could take rest or something like that. And they could be performing, practicing Vanaprastha life. And for sannyasis is preaching. Preaching the absolute truth to the people in general. So only sannyasis are who are minimum in the mode of goodness. And the Kanishta Adhikari is in the mode of passion and ignorance. He is struggling with his anartha nivrutti stage. And he is not able to come out of the anarthas only. Because he is not reading Prabhupada books daily. Nityam Bhagavata Seva is missing. And he is not serving pure devotees. So he struggles in his anartha nivrutti stage only. He is not able to cross and not able to reach nishtha, which a Madhyam Adhikari is able to reach, or a sannyasi is supposed to be in the mode of goodness minimum. That's how he can maintain his sannyas for whole life. So in early stages, Prabhupada had to, because it was a dire need of the society and preaching, Prabhupada had less time. So he empowered many young brahmacharis as sannyasis, knowing well that many of them will not be able to maintain. They will give up sannyas. But Prabhupada had to take risk. There was no other alternative. So he gave. So those who could not reach the goodness minimum, they continued to be in passion. So they could not maintain the vows of sannyas. They left sannyas. One sannyasi sent his danda to Prabhupada and with a letter that Prabhupada, I quit. Tera tujhko arpan. You gave me danda, I gave you danda back. My sannyas is over. Like that. One particular sannyasi has made he has done PhD thesis, he's from America, on these sannyasis who left sannyas ashram. Around 80 sannyasis are interviewed. The names you might not have ever heard. Santosh Swami, Yasteya Swami, and so many names. So they were there in ISKCON as sannyasis. So what were the reasons they left sannyas? They were interviewed by this sannyasi who did PhD on that topic only. He has published one book. And then very honestly they all have told that how I took sannyas for Mahaprasad only. Because I saw as a brahmachari you get some Mahaprasad. But if you are sannyasi, you get the whole Rajbhog plate for you. So I took sannyas for Rajbhog. Somebody said I did not know exactly what is sannyas and all that. Whatever it is. But sannyasis are supposed to preach the absolute truth to the people in general. But in the modern day scenario, because of lack of so many sannyasis, then even brahmacharis are empowered. For that matter, grihasthas are empowered. But we have to know, ideally a sannyasi is supposed to preach. Because he is in the mode of goodness minimum. And we should strive to come to the mode of goodness minimum. So first and foremost offense in holy name also is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for preaching this message to one and all. So all devotees in ISKCON are preaching anyway. So we should not blaspheme anyone. We should not offend anyone. Rather we should respect everyone. Sakale sammana korite shakati dehanatha jatha jatha tabe to gaibo harinama sukhe aparadaha behata. So what is the anartha that devotee is struggling is in that fourth stage. First is Ado Shraddha, in the beginning some faith. Then one comes to sadhu sang. They tell him to do some bhajan, chanting, etc. And then once bhajan begins, anarthas are supposed to reduce. They do reduce. But one biggest anartha one gets introduced to, offending Vaishnavas. And this makes his passion and ignorance increase in his life. Serving Vaishnavas, his passion and ignorance will reduce. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye chetayete ranavidham stitam satve prasidati. After telling in 1 to 18 that nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya, all the anarthas in the heart will be almost reduced to nil if one is serving Bhagavat. Prabhupada says 2 types of Bhagavat. Grantha Bhagavat, book Bhagavat, reading Srimad Bhagavatam daily at least for 1 hour. And apart from that, serving a Vyakti Bhagavat, that is person Bhagavat, whose whole life is based on Grantha Bhagavat. So if one does it, then Rajas and Tamas, which are characterized by Kam and Lobha. Kam, lust, is characteristic of passion. As Krishna says, Kama Esha Krodha Esho Raja Guna Samudbhava. Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyanimiha Vairinam. The lust is the characteristic of passion, and Lobha, that is greed, is the characteristic of ignorance. So Adaya also is adding. Kama Lobha Adayaschaye, because everything cannot be told. Then greed is there, anger is there, illusion is there, and envy is there. He is not telling all four, but all six, lust, pride, greed, envy, anger, illusion, are nothing but either pure passion or pure ignorance, or the combination of passion and ignorance. There is no goodness. That's why next he says, when one gets rid of passion and ignorance, characterized by lust and greed, then sthitam sattve prasidati. One is situated in the mode of goodness. So this is nishtha stage. After anarthas are almost nil. Some part will be there. That will be removed later. But otherwise, one is come to nishtha, and he can preach wonderfully. What to preach? Prabhupada in purport says, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Krishna is telling twice in Bhagavad Gita. And this is also, Acharya says, is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Not just Sarva Dharman Parityajya. In 1865, just before 1866 of Sarva Dharman Parityajya, Krishna is telling the same thing. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. In 9th chapter end also is telling again the same line. Fix your mind on me, Manmana bhava madbhakto, become my devotee, Madhyaji, worship me, or Mam Namaskuru, offer obeisances to me. Do any one of the four, or two of the four, or three of the four, or all four, like that. Though there is hierarchy also in that. To fix one's mind on Krishna fully, 24 hours, requires complete pure heart. Mayyeva manadasva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, niveshasasya mayyeva, athaurdvam na samshaya. In 12.8, Krishna is telling that fix your mind on me fully. But then he says, you may not be able to fix your mind on me. Atachittam samadhatum na shaknosi maistiram. If you are not able to fix your mind on me, then abhyasa yogena tato. Then engage in the regulative principles of devotional service. 64 regulative principles our Rupa Goswami has given in the nectar of devotion. So practice them vigorously, one after the other. If all 64 are difficult, especially for grahasthas, those who stay in temple and attend an entire morning program, for them around 41 to 43 get covered. But still for them also few remain, around 20, 21 anyway remain. So that they could cover up in the other times of the year, because some are like celebrating Janmashtami. So that is not every morning program. That is once in a year. So that everybody can celebrate also. And some other festivals, Ram Navami, Nasing Chaturdashi, etc. But we can practice this. He says, Abhyasa yogena tato mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. With the desire to attain me. This is a qualifier for us, which we miss in life. We don't have desire to attain Krishna. We only keep on chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I want Krishna. Shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virhename. This desire is lacking in a sadhaka, practitioner, because of not associating regularly and hearing from pure devotees. Pure devotee is mad for Krishna. So when we hear from him, the saffron dust particles emanate from his lotus lips. And when we hear, they enter through our ears, in our heart, and we get a desire. I want Krishna. I don't want things of this world. Dhanam janam sundarim. I want Krishna. So one becomes mad after Krishna by hearing from pure devotees. And that's how he qualifies as a proper best practitioner. Mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. With the desire to attain me. So we should preach this. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Next Prabhupada says one should preach how human life is for self-realization. No, human life is not for sense gratification, not for ahar nidra bhai maitun. It is for self-realization, realizing the self. When I was in the second year of engineering in 96, we had one subject, I don't remember the name, maybe EMMI, electrical measurements and measuring instruments. So new teacher was there, one girl was there. I think she was not married, young girl was there. She was our teacher. So she came and she made every boy and girl stand up one at a time. And you have to tell where you are from, what's your name, where you are from, and what is your short-term goal and long-term goal. So one by one, boys, girls, they were there. So when my turn came, I stood up and I told my name, my place, and then I said, my short-term goal is to complete engineering and take up a job, which was a lie actually, because I was not planning to take up job. I was planning to become brahmachari only, immediately, if allowed by Radheshyam Prabhu. So, and I said, my long-term goal is self-realization. She said, what? I said, self-realization, madam. That means I am not this body, I am spirit soul. To realize this. She said, okay, okay, sit down. That was the most shocking answer for her. What this boy said? Self-realization. First time maybe in life she heard it. She was shocked. She could not understand the words only. What was self-realization? What is the self? Anyway, she understood, hopefully, like that. So what is next is we can preach the glories and supremacy of the Lord. So Haridas Thakur did all this. He preached on all levels. He would preach. He would chant daily 3 lakh Harinam, 192 rounds daily. But he would also preach to others. And what is preaching? Preaching is to get a person closer to Krishna. Anyhow you get him closer to Krishna, that is preaching. You can give him prasad and he says, oh, this is so nice. What is it? It's called Krishna prasad. It's offered to Krishna. So just by his appreciating Krishna, you have preached him. You have brought him closer to Krishna. Or you give him Hare Krishna Mahamantra card. He sees, what is it? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just once he just said it. Whether he will say it again or not, no question, no need to worry. But once he said, you have brought him closer to Krishna. And that is preaching. So this is, okay, maybe not so powerful preaching, but eventually one can become on higher level. By preaching only, our strength will grow and we will be able to take people on higher level, like a guru. He can pull his practicing disciples who are on Anatha Nivrutti stage all the way to Prema stage also. Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Yate. So Guru Maharaj can award Prema Bhakti to a disciple if we associate with the spiritual master. But even on lower level, somehow get a person closer to Krishna. There are 2 types of devotees, Prabhupada says. One is Goshtyanandi and other is Bhajananandi. Goshti means discussions about the Lord. Anandi, one who takes pleasure in discussing about the Lord. Basically, he is a preacher. So he preaches to everyone. And another is Bhajananandi, Bhajan Anandi, one who takes pleasure in bhajan, personal bhajan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They complement each other. Many times the misunderstanding is Bhajananandi is bogus and is useless, foolish, and this is not. No, that is not the case. Once when Bhaktivinoda Thakur was traveling in a boat in Ganges, I think maybe from Navadvip to this side he was coming. So one of his followers praised him, saying that Siddhant Saraswati ji, you have been preaching so wonderfully, so powerfully, amazing. Unlike your spiritual master, Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, who keeps chanting the whole day. So he was offending, he offended Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj through his statement. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur could not tolerate. That is an ideal disciple. He cannot tolerate any Vaishnava aparad to any Vaishnava. What to speak of Guru? So he said, you see this motor, because they were in Ganges, that boat had a motor. All of us might have seen that. It produces a lot of noise. He said, I am like this motor, which produces so much of noise, but this motor is empowered by a battery behind, which is very silent. But without that battery, this motor cannot work and the boat cannot function. So my spiritual master, Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, is like that battery, silent, but he is empowering me. And I appear to be talking so much, and that's why people praise me, saying that you are a very powerful preacher. But my strength comes from my spiritual master, Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. So that person understood how Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj is the one who is empowering Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. So Goshtyanandi will preach, but his preaching will have effect only if a Bhajananandi, Uttam Adhikari, sits in one place and keeps chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He produces pure holy name, pure for sure. That petrol pump may not have pure petrol, but pure devotee, Uttam Adhikari, this Bhajananandi, chants very purely in one place, and the holy vibrations, Hare Krishna Nam, Hari Nam, it goes all throughout the ether and purifies the whole ether. And when the Goshtyanandi preacher goes there, preaches, then the people are affected by the sound vibrations of a Bhajananandi and they take up Krishna consciousness very seriously. So they complement each other. Within every Goshtyanandi there is a Bhajananandi. Unless one goes deep in one's bhajan, one cannot preach powerfully. That's not possible. He says that Krishna Shakti vina nahe tara pravartan. Without having Krishna Shakti, one cannot preach. So one has to go deep in bhajan. So Goshtanandi is internally Bhajananandi, externally Goshtanandi. Bhajananandi is externally Bhajananandi, internally Goshtanandi. He empowers a Goshtanandi. Says, you preach. Like Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj told Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you preach. You go to Kolkata and you preach in the people, to the people who are in Maya. So they complement each other. That has to be understood properly. So some Bhajananandi's blessing should be behind us. Uttamadhikari's blessing. For preaching, what is required? Prabhupada says in one place, are the qualities Lord Kapil Dev says to Devavati. Titikshava karunika suhrudam sarvadehinam ajata shatravaha shanta sadhavaha sadhu bhushana. A sadhu is decorated with these qualities. Any sadhu. Sadhu doesn't mean somebody wearing saffron. Sadhu means one who has offered his heart to Krishna, who loves Krishna. So such a person is called sadhu, and sadhu means he is having this decoration. Just like a very beautiful person is decorated with earrings and crown and many other things. So like that we should be decorated with these qualities, as Lord Kapila is saying. Titikshava, very tolerant. How much can we tolerate? Just like we said, Bhishma Deva was tolerating the pricks. Pricks means the whole arrows had gone through his body, and crucified Jesus tolerated that pain. So how much can we tolerate? Prabhupada says in that Bhrigu Muni testing Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh conclusion, the greatness of a person has to be estimated by his ability to tolerate provoking situations and provoking persons also. So many people will provoke us. Even devotees might provoke. They may say, what a fool you are. So one should be able to digest. One should say that, oh, you don't praise me. No, Prabhu, I said you are a fool. That's what I am telling, don't praise me. No, Prabhu, I said you are a fool, murk. I am Mahamurk. If you tell me that I am murk, you are glorifying me. Say that I am Mahamurk. So that kind of humility should be there. That person should feel, he should melt like that. Not that you melt in anger. So that kind of humility. Titikshava, Karunika, very compassionate, very merciful. Give Krishna consciousness to everyone. Suradam Sarvanahidam, best friend to all. For benefit of preaching, the two books Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, is that very easy to get out of the illusory conditional life imposed upon us by Maya. Anybody who preaches Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to others, that means you should become Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav teacher. And Bhakti Vedanta also. Before coming here, I gave classes for Bhakti Vedanta devotees, their classes. So it's very good because you are preaching Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada says anybody who does that, for him it's very easy to get out of the illusory conditional life of imposed upon us by Maya. More and more Krishna we speak, it is very helpful. And such a person becomes famous by taking to devotional service and preaching. Just by taking devotional service, by becoming devotee of Krishna, we become most famous persons in the creation. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, who is the most famous person in the creation? Ramananda Rai said, a devotee of Krishna is the most famous person. So we are the most famous people. So you are famous? Nobody recognizes me. No. Brahma is recognizing you. Narad Muni is recognizing you. Vyasdev is recognizing you. Krishna is recognizing. Radharani is recognizing. So what more is required? Nobody else is required. These people are recognizing. Prabhupada says, what is preaching? In one purport, 4th canto, 23rd chapter, 29th verse, he discusses the word Shravayet. Shravayet, Prabhupada says that one should not only read for himself, but should also induce others to read and hear. That is called preaching. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended this practice. So we should not only read ourselves, but we should teach that very subject matter to others. Srila Ishwar Puri, when he first time came to Navadvip, he was in the house of Gopinath Acharya. And first he came to house of Advaita Acharya, long story, but eventually for that time he stayed in the house of Gopinath Acharya, where every day he would read from his book, Krishna Lilamrit, to his very dear devotee, that is Gadadhar Pandit. Every day Gadadhar Pandit would take pleasure in hearing from Srila Ishwar Puri, and he would read from his book, Krishna Lilamrit. And sometimes Nimai Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a scholar, he would, after his Pathshala, his school would be over, he was the teacher, he would go there and he would also hear. So we can see, preaching means reading. Reading out, what you read, you tell others also. You read for others also. Let them hear. 12 authorities are there. Mahajanas, they are the best preachers. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumaro Kapilo Manuhu Prallado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vayyasa Kim Vayam. So these are 12 authorities, Mahajanas. So they have to be understood properly. While coming here in the plane from where was it? From Bombay to Hyderabad. In the plane, I met one person. So he said he wanted he came to know, he saw me. So he said, do you know Gaur Gopal bro? I said, I know. Can you give me his number? I said, no, I cannot give that. It is not good because he's internationally famous. So it's not good to give his number. I can give my number. Then he said 1 or 2 minutes. Then he said, you give me your number only then. So then I gave my number to him. So then afterwards he sent one message to me. Several things. He sent his Bhagavad Gita. He has written Bhagavad Gita. And then he sent one message yesterday. So he was saying that how Bhishma, Drona, Krupacharya and Vidur, they should have revolted and gone to Dhritarashtra and corrected him and all that. So I was telling how one cannot draw inference on great pure devotees like this because they act by the will of the Supreme Lord. By the way, Vidurji and this one, Bhishma, they are pure devotees, they are Mahajanas. In Kali Yuga, Yamarajji comes as Vidurji. So in one sense, we cannot dictate. So many misunderstandings are there in the society. So we have to preach and remove this misunderstanding. Prabhupada in 4th canto, 24th chapter, 67th verse, says that Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, the atheists are always prepared to harass a devotee. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suggested that one be very tolerant of these people. Nonetheless, one has to continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and preach the chanting and preaching the chanting of this Mahamantra, because such preaching and chanting constitute the perfection of life. So there will be opposition. Prabhupada in fact said, if you are preaching vigorously, then there will be opposition. So opposition is very good in one sense. That means so much. Like in the train you are going and you are chanting loudly Kirtan. People say, hey, shut up. You know, so much noise. So in one sense it is good. But when they say that also, then we should see that it is not good maybe. We can chant softly. Or we can have personal japa, see that also. But we should preach also. There are 2 types of vidhis, recommendation, Pancharatriki vidhi and Bhagavat vidhi. Pancharatriki vidhi is centered around deity worship. Deities are in the center, and in the festivals, daily pujas, offerings, and all those things. And Bhagavat vidhi means chanting and hearing and chanting, preaching to one and all. Like our Shad Goswamis did. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samsthapako Sadharma Samsthapana, preaching or establishing the true religious principles by scrutinizingly studying the scriptures. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno, they were expert in that and they preached, they wrote down the books and all that. In 6th canto, 4th chapter, 5th verse, Prabhupada says, those who are engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord should be trunadapi shunichena and tarorapi sahishnuna. They should be humbler than blade of grass and more tolerant than trees. Then they can preach the glories of the Lord without difficulty. Because there will be opposition. So they have to be very tolerant and very humble. A Vaishnava is paradukha dukhi. We cannot see others suffering. So we feel when they suffer and we know what is the remedy for their suffering. The only suffering in the creation is forgetfulness of Krishna. Person is suffering only because he has forgotten Krishna. So let me go approach him and give him Krishna in whatever way he could accept. So that is a Vaishnava. Our body should be engaged in physical activities under spiritual master's order. So many orders are there, so many services are given to us. Our mind should think of Krishna incessantly. That is engagement for mind. And our words should be engaged in preaching the Lord's glories. Thus engaged in the Lord's sannyasi. Krishna says that anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na cha akriyah. In 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 1st verse. He says that without anashrita karma phalam, without being attached to the fruits of our action. So one should act as he is obligated to. Karyam karma karotiya. So sannyasi, he is a sannyasi. So sannyasi cha yogi cha, and he is yogi also. Na niragnir na cha akriya. Not the one who is inactive or he does not light any fire. No, that is not a sannyas. So we are active with our body, mind and words in the service of the Lord. So we should be preachers or teachers and we should not be cheaters. If we are not preaching We are not becoming teachers, we are cheaters. Because the greatest violence is not to preach, not to give Krishna to others. So we all are recommended to become teachers. Amara agya guru hayya, tarai desh, on my order, you become guru. Guru doesn't mean ISKCON guru. Guru means priest to one and all. In 7th canto, 6th chapter, 24th verse, Prabhupada says, preaching is the best service to the Lord. There is no more pleasing. What is Krishna Prem within the heart is outside Jivadaya. How Krishna Prem gets reflected in your life outside is through Jivadaya. That you are compassionate to other living entities and you give them Krishna in whatever way they can accept. Effect of preachers preaching, Prabhupada says, the students who listen to him, like Prahlad's preaching, what happened? The students who listened to him became fixed in the conclusion that Krishna consciousness is the only object of human life. This is Prahlad's powerful preaching. Preaching in kingdom of Hiranyakashipu. Like preaching in Pakistan. How many of us can preach in Pakistan? Openly on the streets. Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution. Can we think of? You open the mouth, then the mouth will be on the ground, the head will be on the ground. Like that. So Prahlad's preaching is billions and trillions of times more dangerous than preaching in Pakistan. Because Pakistan has created, some people within Pakistan have created some terror for people in some countries nearby. But for 4th chapter of 7th canto, the title is Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the whole universe. Is the number one terrorist of the creation. The world has not seen terrorists like Hiranyakashipu and will not be able to see also. He terrorized the whole universe. And Prahlad in his kingdom, only person, no assistant, nobody else, devotee of Krishna, and he is preaching openly to Shanda Amarka, to Hiranyakashipu and all the friends who are all sons of demoniac ministers. So such a preaching spirit, that is a pure devotee. Prahlad Maharaj always preached to his classmates and never remained silent. Otherwise that is himsa. Without preaching, just chanting in seclusion, effect will be that the modes will be very difficult to surpass. One should not, Prabhupada has clarified there, one should not go to seclusion and keep chanting throughout day. One's heart is not so pure. So it is said even if one goes to forest for austerities, he goes with the 6 wives, the 5 senses and mind. So what's the use? He left one wife behind in the house and he gone to forest with 6 wives. Very dangerous. So better remain at home and practice Krishna consciousness properly. Grihastha should give contributions for temple construction and preaching of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita all over the world. That is their contribution. Okay. So the last point is, 2 last points. 7th canto, 14th chapter, 40th verse. Prabhupada said, deity worship is especially for glorifying, for purifying the neophyte devotees. Actually, however, preaching is more important. So for Kanishta Adhikari, deity worship is recommended. For Madhyam Adhikari, preaching is recommended. They can both do simultaneously also, but preaching is higher. Preaching creates auspiciousness in the world's atmosphere. By holding discourses from the books Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion and Srimad Bhagavatam, and audience hears it, one speaks and audience hears it, then the whole atmosphere is purified. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavi bhiriditam kalmashapaham shravana mangalam srimadatam bhuvi granantiye bhurida jana. Gopis have glorified preachers. Okay, I will end here. Any question? Yes. This is unlimited subject matter. Prabhupada has spoken because Prabhupada is very powerful preacher. All that he was doing, he has put it in his purports.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for wonderful class. As the text is told that we have to give the responsibility to the juniors and seniors have to be
Train them.
Train them. So you give one example, Prabhuji, in that regard, that this mother-in-law and wife example you give. The mother-in-law have to be teach to the wife, so she will be take care and then she have to be leave. But as we know, Prabhuji, like because these things are coming to the generations, like in a parampara system we are coming. So mothers have learned from his own own mother or like this. So generation will be going on into the some family or something like that. So
What is the question?
So my question is this, Prabhuji, that so these are the standard already set into the family sometimes. So siege continue, but when new person is coming into the family, then he try to change the old standard and try to do into the other ways.
So that's a training we said, no? Training should be given. What is our standard in this house? And that is given and one pushes off.
But still sometimes, see Prabhuji, this, observe this thing that because now the lifestyle is changing and the standards everywhere is changing, and the old standard, instead of old standard, they just modify the old standard into the new standard and doing
Some
the same
innovation
thing.
is allowed, some innovation is allowed, some things, but many things remain prominent, like morning program remains prominent, the mantra remains the same, and the Prabhupada books remain the same. So many things will not change, but some other things, preaching strategies may change. We may adopt to some better preaching strategies by which we can preach to wider people, means wider group of people and all that.
So Prabhuji, my question is this, Prabhuji. So this is it is practically observed, Prabhuji, when do some changes in the preaching style, then the authority whom under we are preaching, so under his, so he check with his superiors, and then because
Okay, understood, no need to continue. But basically, when one takes off, he should oversee the affairs also. The seniors can take off and they can see whether they are able to go on or not. I already told Prabhupada, though he made GBCs, he did not take off in the sense he was sitting in GBC meetings also to see whether they are conducting the affairs of worldwide ISKCON properly or not. So they should remain in the background. Physically they are not active, but their guidance they can be giving, so that the next generation does not deviate too much or does not deviate at all. So that they should oversee. Next question? Yes. Yourself.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
My question is that you told that we should make our heart as soft as butter, but it become prone to like something like outsiders or some other people who become envious of us. So it become prone to that that enviousness. So how to become safe from
Don't
that?
associate with them. Preach to them and don't associate with them. They are envious, so don't associate by accepting. Prabhupada says in one word, association means accepting. They are envious. So you accept that envy in your heart, you have associated with materialistic people. Don't accept. Give them Krishna. They are not ready, push off, go to the next person.
Sometimes like devotees also like.
So don't associate with those devotees also. Keep distance, pay obeisances. This is the formula. Keep distance from the devotees who are not according to Guru Sadhu Shastra. They have envy, they are Kanishtadhikaris. So don't associate with their envy. Keep distance, pay obeisances. Be respectful. We have to respect everyone. Amanina manadena. But don't associate. Associate with pure devotees. Our Rupa Goswami has guided us. Krishneti yasya giritam manasa driyeta dikshasti chet pranati bhischa bhajantam isham shushrusaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya nindadi shunyam ridam ipsita sangalabdhya. Nindadi shunyam ridam ipsita sang. Pure devotees are free from the tendency to criticize others. And rudhama ipsita sangalabdhya. In our heart we should always desire their association. We hear their audio lectures, video lectures are also available. Wherever possible, physically attending class or serving them, we could do that. But otherwise, the audio recordings are there. Prabhupada is there in his books only. So associate with pure devotees or pure representatives of the pure devotees. Don't associate with Kanishtadhikaris. That way you will get corrupt. Already we are enough corrupt by Maya and we will become more corrupt. Yes. Next.
We can take personally questions.
Okay, take it. So we'll end here. Ganta Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.